everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Rich Ad, Poor Ad podcast. Today we have your host, Dylan. Zach will be able to make it today. No biggies, though. We have another awesome co founder of an up and coming shoot ecom brand. They launched in April. They're about to hit seven figures right before Q4. They're roughly spending, six figures for the year on it. I'm sure they're going to scale up hardcore next year. But introducing Kendall Shaw. How's it going, man? Thanks for jumping on this.
Thank you, Don. Thank you for the amazing intro. I'm looking forward to looking over these ads and continuing the conversation here.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, I've been kind of following you around on Facebook, seeing screenshots of this kind of brand you're scaling up. And I was like, man, this is kind of happening in the middle of a pandemic. So this is a super interesting kind of study, more or less, to where I think there can be some extreme value on there. But before we kind of dive in, kind of give everybody a little bit of background of kind of what you're getting into, the specific business in question. I know we kind of want to keep it more brand X, but kind of give everybody an idea of, how up and coming this is, how fresh, kind of your role there, just so people kind of have some context.
Yeah, so I would say, a little background about me. I am the founder of Maybach Media. We're a digital marketing agency. So we only work with e-commerce and information product businesses to help them, generate leads and sales. So we had a client of ours reach out to us. They had a unique supplement product. They just reached out to us. One of our clients who actually ran ads for their Airbnb program, and they just hit us up and they're like, "Hey, we have this cool product. This is actually in March. We have this cool product, and I think there's a lot of potential. I think there's a big market for it. Let's partner up on it." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And we had an initial meeting, and it was actually kind of funny. I always got really lazy. I was busy scaling our agency and built the site in probably an hour and just launched ads 3 weeks later. And then we just struck gold. The first day we launched ads, we had a $1,000 day with a couple $100 in ad spend. So after that, I was really excited just because, and as you know, Dylan, as well as being a media buyer, when you have a good offer and you do well the first couple of days, you have something good with the bare minimum, just basic image ads. So after that, that was April 13th. Fast forward to April 13th, we've done about $670,000 in revenue at 40% net profit, which is super duper good with a recurring revenue. Repeat customer rate is probably about 30% currently as well. So haven't had any issues with ad account bans or page feedback score. Page feedback score is a 5. And it's been a blessing. God is good, and it's been a really great experience being able to have my own brand that's going to scale to multiple 7 figures. And going through that process, I learned a ton of lessons, and I'm really excited to drop some value here on this with us.
Hell yeah, man! So is this your first time getting this deep into kind of a business, kind of from the ground up?
Yeah, I would say this is my first time scaling an actual physical product brand to multiple 7 figures. I've done drop shipping in the past, but as with drop shipping, it kind of once you have a good product, products can die out and stuff. But with drop shipping, after the product dies out, you're kind of just there. But with this, if our return on ad spend starts to die down, we know it's not really the product. It's more of the angle or the copy we're using has died out, and we need to refresh the offer. So that's kind of going through that whole experience has given us a lot of valuable insight, just because we are a marketing agency too. We do have equity in this business, but we also, my whole entire team does run the advertising for this business. So it's given us a lot of insight, and it's also allowed us to really test a lot of strategies with media buying and direct response marketing. And that's what's helped us actually not only grow the business massively, but also grow our clients as well.
Yeah, man, I think that's super cool how you can kind of test on this, implement it for your clients. I have a buddy named Dan, and we had him on the podcast maybe months ago, but they're a massive agency as well. They have maybe 3 or 4 of their own brands, and they do all of their tests on their brands and implement it for their clients. So, I mean, I think you got yourself here a really cool little golden nugget to help scale the agency side on top of this. But, super snazzy, man, and shouts out for, all the success there.
Appreciate it, man. I mean, it's really been such a great opportunity. I wouldn't have said without my client, I would have never been here because I had no idea. I had no idea what the product was before they reached out to me. And fast forward to now, we're doing crazy numbers, wholesaling deals, and have a whole warehouse and the 3PL. And just going through all of that has really given me a lot of insight, just because, for a lot of agencies, they only see the back end of running the media buying, but there's so much more that really goes into it. And that's really helped us, improve the results that we've gotten for our clients, as well as for our own brand that we use ourselves.
Hell yeah. Well, speaking of results, let's go ahead and segue into our rich ad, poor ad side of things. So, man, you sent me over this ad. Just so everybody kind of has some context. I'm not going to read it, word for word, but essentially, we have a product that cleans your system immediately after the first use. You simply stir this flavorless gel into coffee, tea, or smoothies. It's kind of a user-generated kind of video oriented here, but can you
Mhm.
kind of give everybody some context on what the ad is, who it's speaking to, how y'all kind of more or less strategize the specific ad and
Yeah,
then
for sure. I would
yeah.
say, so just a little context. Our marketing agency, we actually are a partner. So we have equity in, we're something might be doing a lot of things, but we do have equity in a influencer marketing business. I would say that's been really key into our scaling strategy for this business, just because, there's really like a lot of different content styles. I know, Josh knows someone I look up to heavily, and looking at a lot of the big D2C brands that have scaled really fast, we've noticed that a lot of them have a really large emphasis on user generated content and repurposing that UGC into like different content styles, editing it, etc. Someone I look up to is Social Savannah on Twitter. Savannah Sanchez, she's really big about UGC as well. So when we launched this brand, we initially launched it with just basic image ads, and that scaled us up to I'd say like probably 4 to 5K a day in revenue. But we knew once we started adding user generated content and testing the user generated content, that's how we were able to have consistent 6 figure months and consistent 5 figure days. So that ad right there basically is just a piece of user generated content that we sent to one of our influencers. We do influencer campaigns every single week and every single month, sending our product to influencers. And we don't even really care, honestly, just being transparent. Just for our brand that we don't care about making the sales on the influencer. What we do really care about is the actual content piece, because when you use user generated content in advertising, we've seen extremely low CPMs. That ad, we probably spent about $100 for that influencer, and we've probably made, I would say that ad we made about 160, $170,000 at like a 3.4, 3.5x,
Ooh.
with a good spend behind it too. And just to keep in mind, we launched this brand in April, so we actually started running that ad, I would say in like mid May or June.
Man, so this single ad alone did well over six figures.
Yeah, for sure.
And
And
it
it's
cost
just a
you a hundred
UGG's piece.
bucks. And it cost you $100 for this one influencer.
Yeah, yeah. And the influencers are so happy with it because, they get a ton of brand exposure, right? And we get a content piece, they get the product, they get paid. So everyone's happy. And that's really been one of our key, and will continue to be one of our key ways to scale, just because, once you get a brand up and running and you have your paid acquisition strategy down, it's really not about media buying to grow. Because media buying, and as you know, it's kind of like media buying is cool, but like that's not what's going to grow your business. You have to focus on the copy, the offer, the landing pages, and the content of your ads. And once you do that, like from my experience, you can slap a broad campaign, no targeting. And if you have a good copy, good creative, good landers, and good offer, you're going to crush, right?
Oh yeah, I mean you said it best right there. I think that's a great approach there and a great, area of focus. Now, when it comes to these influencer deals, I know you spent 100 on this. Do y'all have different models for compensation? Hey, we'll pay you a flat fee. We'll send you the product. Maybe we'll give you a percent of sales. How do y'all kind of structure those just in case somebody's looking to maybe get in the influencer game and have some sort of idea of where to even, get started there?
Yeah, yeah. So like for some of our bigger influencers, on our brand, we've had celebrities reach out to us and they've posted the product. What we've done for them is we just gave them, for like the really big influencers, we gave them free product and didn't even ask them to post, just to build relationships. And that's a really big thing about influencer marketing. It's less about like asking for certain things. It's really just about the relationship building. But I would say the majority of our strategy is working with micro influencers. So
Mm.
anyone who has less than like, I would say 150, 200,000 followers, I would consider personally micro, just because, once you're above that following, most of those people who actually have their own like physical product brands or brand deals of that nature. Um, so our strategy is we just pay them, we ask them what they want. And most influencers don't really know how to charge the pricing. So they either overcharge or undercharge. And we just ask them what they want and we just pay them, get the content, and then we have them post. And then our influencer marketing team, um, they just basically go and take all that content and they basically track all the analytics from the actual campaign. And this is something we're doing on a weekly and monthly basis. To give you an idea, we just set up a campaign that we probably spent about $2,500 on the campaign to set it up, as well as the $1,000 fee to our influencer marketing agency that we work with and have a percentage in. Um, and basically, they manage the whole entire campaign, and we're probably going to reach like 1.7, 1.8 million people across all the different personal pages. And not only will we make revenue from that and brand awareness, and that those people get in your middle of funnel, since the middle of funnel audiences are people who engage with your page, but we're really banking on the actual content piece. I care more about the content, less about the actual post, just because the post is cool, but the revenue is really made when you post the actual content piece. I mean, you use the content piece as the actual ad.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense there. Now, I think a key concept to kind of take away from this is the micro influencer side. Of course, they know
Right.
what they want to do, but they don't maybe know their worth yet. So I feel like I heard Josh speak about this from Try Snow maybe 2 years ago, and shoot, he's probably still doing that these days. But I mean, it's a great way to kind of build rapport, as you mentioned, relationships are everything there. So where you can probably get in on the ground floor, $100. Hey, we'll see the product, maybe 2 or 3 videos to where you're going to get a little golden nugget like this to where you can put, you know, 5 figures behind to generate 6 figures. So I think it's a killer example of how powerful influencers are, no matter what their size is.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
hell
I
yeah.
agree 100%.
So the power of influencers. I mean, I still can't believe this cost $100 and generated 6 figures, but dude, that's quite that's right
We'll
there.
only generate 6 figures because we decided to test it. I think that'd be a really big thing because prior to this, I've told all my clients that, we need an influencer strategy and you guys need to use it. And, when you have a drop shipping store, you can have an influencer strategy, but it's not going to be at scale, nor will it be at like the level of, how do I say this, consistency,
Yeah.
because it's a non-branded product. But when we started testing this for our own brand, that's when we really saw the breakthrough results, especially on the top of funnel, right? Just because once you get the people in the middle and bottom of funnel, like your ads can be different, but your ads don't have to be as like influencer based. It's more of like value, benefits, discount codes, etc. Whereas with the top of funnel, for at least these products, it was really just like showing the value and like catching people's attention, and it was really just a good testimonial piece of content.
Oh yeah, no, I think creative is yeah. So with your influencers, are you more of a volume kind of guy on the creative? Take what you can kind of get. Do you have a set plan there? Just kind of test it and kind of see what pans out, or are you more of a quality game there?
Yeah, we're definitely on a volume game just
Mm,
because you can't really be quality control of influencers. I mean, you can obviously, but like our influencer agency that we work with is called Power Agency. Like I said, my marketing company is we decided to become a minority partner in this business after we tested it on our own personal product and we saw the results. So we were like, why wouldn't we want to offer this service to our clients, right? But we're really just in a volume game and making sure that the video content that they're posting is genuine. Because it's really about the video and the image content that they're leveraging, just because you're going to be able to leverage that. And it's also like a mini testimonial. So like something we're working on now, here's a free nugget, is we're using Zipify pages. I'm sure you know what Zipify and Ezra Firestone. So we're
yeah.
testing some Zipify pages and just posting excuse my friends, a shit ton of user generated content for testimonials and having as like a testimonial retargeting landing page, just because we're on Shopify right now and Shopify is great, but I'm nowhere near like a UI UX developer or coder at all. So we're going to test that for the middle and bottom of funnel, testing different landing pages, testing different copy, different, marketing angles. I would really feel like the key to success of scaling this brand was like, obviously, running ads is great, but really, direct response marketing, having a great copy and direct response marketing background, plus, leveraging that user generated content was really what allowed us to scale so fast. As well as having a good product, obviously, but those really key fundamentals can be leveraged across any niche.
No, and I think you're spot on there. I mean, yeah, you're definitely on point. Now, this has been very lucrative, and I'm totally about it. But let's go ahead and segue this bad boy into our poor ad segment. Now, Kendall, go ahead and check out your messenger, man. Since you're in kind of in the drop shipping realm, I thought it'd be fun to find a very shitty drop shipping ad. So, go ahead, rip it apart. What are your first thoughts when you see this bad boy?
The first thought is I don't even know how they got this approved by Facebook because like she looks like that girl looks like fully butt naked. That's the first thing. The second thing is I think this is like one of those people that are trying to get like get rankings on Amazon. That's what I'm assuming. This just looks like they slapped the AliExpress ad on on Facebook, and this person, I don't think they speak English because it's
Oh,
the grammar
no.
is totally messed up.
Oh, this is the best part. We I think we roasted this one a while ago, but due to the whole drop shipping background, I'm like, this is gonna be a fun one. And just so everybody has some context, it's a random brand called Mbrush. Hey, get your back brushed now. It's easy to get your back, keep your body clean. Want to grab it on Amazon? Place an order on Amazon. We'll cover the full price for you. New Amazon accounts are not eligible for this offer, so there's limited stock. Hurry, now get it today. So we have a trash ad, very contradicting on the English side of things. Place an order on Amazon, but new Amazon accounts are not eligible for this. So I think you're spot on. Went to Alibaba, copied some descriptions, copied the images to where we have a shitty ad here.
Very shitty ad.
I like how it's optimizing for the messages too, not even going to Amazon, just straight to Messenger. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Would you buy this? Would you buy this if you saw this?
If they targeted me, I would report that shit, man. Heck
Yeah,
no,
I
man.
mean
I mean, I would
that
test it. I could test it.
yeah.
I might steal it and test it myself, honestly. But I would not buy that now.
This is the kind just from that send message, I'd be curious where it links to where I want to see their follow-ups just so I could, I want to roast the front end, but I want to roast the back end too. So it'd be kind of fun to see how terrible their automation is.
All right.
Oh, well, what a shit ad. It always lines up the mood a little bit with that bad boy. All right. So the most exciting segment, rich dad, poor dad, take a page out of that book more or less. But we'd love to kind of dive into some, financial principles, maybe some tips on testing, scaling. With y'all launching in April, I would imagine cash flow, may have been a question, how to scale. It's a
Right.
subscription-based kind of model, so you may not have broken even within 30, 60, or 90 days. But based on, y'all's life scale of the business so far, what kind of you know financial tips would you have for somebody maybe looking to do something similar? Maybe they're scaling
Hmm.
up. What kind of tips you got for the people out there?
Yeah, that's definitely a really good question. So on the note of the financials, I mean, we were just blessed that we all owned our own businesses. So, we just put a couple of $1,000s in, right? And just tested it, right? We bootstrapped the whole entire business.
Ooh.
Uh, no outside money, literally bootstrapped it from day one. And that was honestly, obviously it's the first year in business, so getting a warehouse, getting other packaging stuff, and we also do our own 3PL, right? We don't have like a 3PL company. Don't plan on hiring one anytime soon, just because just from our own personal experiences, as well as like we want to have quality control on our product since it is a supplement.
Mm,
So going through that experience, I definitely would say on the financial side, the first thing is something that we didn't leverage that I wish we would have, just due to it being a new business. We couldn't get credit initially until like after a couple months of bank statements, obviously. So if I could go back in time, I would have definitely started leveraging credit instead of debiting. We were debiting our Facebook advertising spend. That would have helped with cash flow, right? Especially when you're doing 6-figure months. Fast
mm-hmm.
forward to now, obviously we're using credit. But that would have been the first thing. The second thing is this is actually kind of funny, shameless plug, but really knowing how much you're netting. With We built our own software company called AdGuru. We can touch on that a little bit later. But with our software that my agency owns called AdGuru, it shows you like how much you're netting per ad set per campaign. Like not your ROAS, but like your net ROI. So like after your product cost, your shipping, employee, like literally every cost, right? Um, and I would say that honestly helped a lot because AdGuru was actually was developed, I'd say like 2 months ago. So we were able to start using it to analyze our campaigns. And that helped us a lot with scaling just because, some campaigns, Facebook's just going to show you the ROAS, but it doesn't show you, how much you're actually taking home. So I'd recommend using AdGuru or, even going using like order metrics so you can really see your numbers on a day-to-day basis. So that really helped with cash flow.
Did y'all have set KPIs to kind of meet there in the beginning and then in the end? Because I'm kind of curious on, the returning customer rate, how you were able to kind of come up with
Right.
target, KPIs without really knowing about them yet. So was it kind of
Yeah.
going in the dark or just hoping for
Yeah,
the
so we had our break even cost per purchase for sure, but we were just blessed when we launched the offer, right? We were getting, really, really cheap cost per purchases. Like to give you an idea, let's say our break even cost per purchase. I'm not going to give the exact numbers, just because competitors will probably listen to this, but, but let's say our break-even cost purchase was like $25. Like when we launched initially, we were getting like $7 to $12 purchases, and
Okay.
we're selling a consumable. So even if we were losing money on the front end, we know if we have good customer service, good email marketing, and and a good follow-up remarketing and retention system, that will make money. And we are very profitable on the front end as well as hyper profitable on the back end. And we'd even have enough time, and we actually haven't even launched the subscription side of our business yet. We just have had repeat customers, and we have a really, kind of segueing into the next point, really making sure you have your Clavio set up correctly initially.
Mm.
Um, I would say that's something you want to set up like after you launch for like a week or so, so you know that like you obviously have a proven product and offer. I just paid an email marketing agency, my buddy Kobe Gatsby. He's a great guy as well. We paid him to do all of our campaigns, all of our email flows, and it wasn't cheap. But having that system in place, makes having your back end set up really well, as well as diversifying your ad spend across other platforms, right? Um, Most people who listen to this probably only do Facebook ads, which Facebook ads are amazing, but we really tested a lot of pay per click, a lot of cold search on Google, and that really helped us diversify our blended return on ad spend. Um, and that really goes from there. I would say that's the main thing.
Yeah, and before the call, I know you mentioned something big came up. Is that something you can kind of bring up on the Shopify Capital side, or?
Yeah, so we just once you start doing revenue, we Shopify Capital just offered us, I think, like $30,000 to $40,000 for percentage of sales, and we're on Shopify Plus because if you have problems with um, if you have problems with your ad account or your customer service, you're going to get kicked off of Shopify payments immediately. But we haven't had any issues.
Mm.
Our chargeback ratio has been way below even 1%. I would say probably like 0.2 or 3% at the max. Maybe less than, after like over 20,000 orders, we've had less than like 100 chargebacks, right? Um, so they just offered us some funding, and we took it just to get more product, test other products, and we're also expanding into Amazon and other sales platforms like Etsy, just because e-commerce is booming, as we all know. And at the end of the day, we want to look at the business from a straight business perspective. And if you have a proven product, I recommend selling it on other platforms, just because the buyers are already there and it's their platforms. And if you have good packaging, you can get repeat buyers. Um, Pretty easily. Like, they might follow your Instagram if they purchase from Amazon or Etsy. And then, now you have someone that you can re-engage with if you're running retention campaigns, and retention campaigns are super duper awesome.
Now, on the Shopify Capital side, is it kind of yeah, I think it was like a percent of sales you mentioned, but is there also an interest rate or a fixed fee, or is it just straight a percent of sales,
Yeah, I think
outside
it's a
of?
percentage sales. Let me check my email real quick. I'm pretty sure it's like a percentage of sales plus, like, they're making money on it too. Um, Excuse me. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
just a percentage of sales, and they kind of just go from there, really.
no, that makes total sense. Because yeah, we ended up having another brand on maybe last week or the week before, and I'll send you this recording. But he did PayPal Capital, Shopify Capital, and he has some nightmares. So I'll send you that. A
Oh
shameless plug
Lord.
for previous podcast, but it's cool to get other perspectives. Just because luckily people have been through these ropes before, so it's good to get how did it work for them? Maybe what kind of deal did they get? Just to kind of see where you're sitting in the that whole environment.
Yeah, I think it's like 17% of sales or something around there, which
Okay.
is cool. Like, it's
You
cool.
can
I'm
probably
not,
put it back so fast too. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I mean, we're not too worried about it, just because we know that capital is going to allow us to go into other markets and scale faster. And, we actually paid Welling Media. I know, Chandler and them,
yeah.
just paying more for more content. It's going to be worth taking the investment, just because, look, we can reinvest our money, but why not use other people's money?
Oh, and that stems to the final question of this. Once that Shopify capital kind of runs out, what's y'all's next plan? Is it a VC? Some more debt? What's y'all's thoughts on to kind of ramp it up? Because if y'all are doing this good, you want to add more fuel to the fire. So I'm kind of curious what's
Right.
after Shopify capital.
Yeah, I would say definitely getting a line of credit, a very large line of credit, or just getting a private investor to buy out a percentage of the business.
Mm,
Um, we have a lot of options, just because the store has done well,
yeah.
and it's done well really quickly. But we haven't even really started exploring those options. If we were looking for anything, it would probably be like a $150,000 investment around there, and just use that to really just catapult the marketing side. We can obviously bootstrap it too, but we as the partners in my business, and I can speak on their behalf as well, definitely would like to pay ourselves out more just because we have bootstrapped from day one. So I know if we got an investment, obviously we pay ourselves a percentage of that and then reinvest a good portion back into the business, on just continuing to scale, using that for a lot of bigger influencers, maybe paying some big celebrities, things of that nature.
Man, this has been juicy and interesting, man. I'm loving this. Well, Kendall, man, how can anybody kind of get in touch with you? We dove into some super nitty gritty info, some killer ads, some terrible ads, some cool little kind of financial tips, more or less. But how can anybody kind of get in touch with you? What are you getting into? I know you mentioned Ad Guru, but you kind of what's that little last minute pitch? You're welcome to kind of get it out there for us.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you guys want to get in touch with me, you guys are more than welcome to check our website out. It's called Maybach, Maybach media.com. That's my main company, my main entity. My Instagram is just my name, Kendall without the E. So Kendall, got the OG username, but shameless plug. But, touching on AdGuru, as an advertiser and a brand owner, I really see like both sides of the eight ball. And I think it's super important to, have a tool that's going to optimize your ads and help you scale. So I would say for anyone who's interested in, really scaling even further, I would love to show you guys more about our software. But yeah, man, I mean, to anyone listening, now is a perfect time if you're in the e-commerce or really any advertising industry. Online advertising is about to basically blow up these next few months. So you guys have any questions, more than happy to help. Don't have anything to sell you. I just genuinely like helping people. So you're always free to, either hit us up on our website or just shoot me an email or, DM me on Instagram. I'm here.
Well, hell yeah, Kendall. Y'all heard it first. These next Q4 is going to be epic. So hit them up.
For sure, man. It's going to be very interesting, just because I'm curious to see with everything going on right now with COVID, to see if there's going to be a second wave or, not that I'm like, want that to happen, but to really see how the financial situation is, as well as, since there is going to be an election, I'm curious to see how those elections are going to affect the CPMs with bigger advertisers bidding on, broad keywords, as I bet Trump's teams are not really doing any targeting. They're probably doing demographic based targeting or location based targeting. I feel like they're past interest level targeting at this point, for how much money they're spending,
Yeah. Oh, they're dumping buckets of money in there.
Yeah. So they're spending millions a week. So I'm curious to see how that's going to affect the CPMs. And also with FedEx and USPS, it's going to be very interesting scaling just because, we do sell a consumable. So I'm just curious to see how that's going to affect the LTV of the customers, especially because, this Q4, even though there's going to be a big e-commerce boom, fulfillment companies and, USPS, FedEx, and all the other companies, especially with the election coming around, it's going to be very interesting to see if they're going to be able to handle the volume. And if they're not, how much delays are going to be. Because as you know, like UPS and FedEx, USPS, FedEx, and all these other companies, they all actually do leverage United Postal Service still. So yep, they're just marking up their price a little bit. So even if those companies get backed up, who God knows how backed up the Postal Service is going to be.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely bananas. But this is exactly why we have to have you on towards the end of Q4 to kind of figure out what's been going on, man. I'm pumped to kind of catch up and get you on this for a V2, maybe 2 or 3 months down the road to kind of see how Q4 is treating you so far.
For sure, man. I really appreciate you and your time today. I'm definitely excited to see. The goal is definitely I want to have my first 7-figure Q4 on this brand. So doing 300,000 a month. If we do that, we should hit there for sure.
Hell yeah. Well, Kendall, man, it was a treasure chest of goodies, man. Much appreciated. But thanks for coming on, man.
For sure. And God bless, guys. Look forward to being back on pretty soon here.